Today we are going to be talking about unit of measure and how that could impact the scale of quantity that you may want to order or quote. So let's just jump right in and talk about one of the use cases. So potentially your customer may have a product that they sell in different unit of measures. And so how Revenue Cloud is approaching that functionality is let's go ahead and start by creating a new product so that we can take a look at what you would need to utilize in order to set those unit of measures up. So I'm going to come over here into our product section of the product catalog management and just take a look at a couple of products that we've set up in advance. So here we have the battery fluid product. We've assigned it a base price. In a previous demo, we talked about how that price is escalated and converted to multiple currency rates. But for this particular demo, we're going to be focusing on this field here called the unit of measure. So this is a record lookup that you can set up. It's not a required field on the product record. By default, there is not a unit of measure assigned specifically to your products. What that means for your user experience is when they come into their quotes, and let me go back to our quote that we had set up. If I was to add a product that does not have a unit of measure designated, the quantities can only be a full integer. It cannot contain any decimal points. And so what the unit of measure record allows is for your product to have some additional configuration. So let's dive into the liter. And here you can see some of that additional information that we've put about the liter. You can set your conversion factor, you can set your scale. So your scale is going to be, if you are entering in 2, then that's going to allow you to enter up to a 2 decimal place on your quantity field. And then the rounding method is going to say, if I enter in 3 decimal places, how is that rounded? And so there's just some additional information that you can add here as it relates to your product and the unit of measure. One thing to note is currently this field is only available to edit on a new product setup. So once it's been set up as a product, you cannot come back in here and change the record that you've associated it to. There is a availability to ask Salesforce support to allow you to edit an existing product that does not have a unit of measure. So if you've set all your products up in your org already without this unit of measure association, and now you're finding that you have a use case for a scale beyond potentially just the full integer, you need to update all of your products. You can ask support to enable that feature, and then that'll allow you to do a one-time update of those products to an associated unit of measure record. So as I said, you could have multiple unit of measures, or you could just set up one if you know your organization, all of your unit of measures are going to act the same. So we've set up in our instance a battery fluid product as a liter with a base price of 1,000. Again, that is being converted across all the price book entries in all of the currencies supported. We also have a product for the milliliter. Let me just click onto that one so you can see here it's associated to a different unit of measure with a different pricing. The milliliter is set up a little bit different. We have the scale set up to 2 with the rounding method of rounding up. So you could do a round up, round down, or just the nearest. So let's see that in action by going into our quote. And we're going to go ahead and browse our catalog. And we're going to look for our battery fluid. So here you can see the 2 products that we just kind of reviewed. We had our battery fluid with that base price of 1,000 and the milliliter with the base price of 50. And what you can see here is my liter unit of measure. I did not enable a scale. So right now I can only enter in a full integer. So that is going to be the message that I see here. On the milliliter, however, I did enable it. I set it to a quantity of 2 or a scale of 2. So I'm going to go ahead and put in some additional, and you'll see that it is being rounded. So I'm going to go ahead and select those 2 products. I'm going to add those to my quote. So now you can see the quantity fields have carried over that information that was entered on the product catalog. Again, same concept here of editing within the transaction line editor. You can attempt to update that quantity, and you'll see here on save that it will not actually allow that first one that's a liter to be saved. So you will see that same message for that first line, which is the liter, you can only have a positive integer. So I'll need to go ahead and make a change there. And I'm going to click save. And that's how you can modify the unit of measures per product and change the different scales related to the decimal quantities for those unit of measure products.